So you bought a Ram truck that came with the Ram Quad style headlights from factory. Whether it's a 2012 or 2019, Ram has been including these lights from factory on quite a few vehicles. People often like to upgrade to the projector style because they have much better performance and obviously looks as well. This can be done simply with a plug and play harness that we sell, and I'm going to show you how to wire that up in a minute. Okay, so we have our Ram projector light that we're going to be putting in the truck. Obviously, we're replacing the quad style headlights. So what we're going to need is a adapter harness. This is one style that we sell. It basically has the large VW plug that plugs into the back of these lights. And then it has a low beam plug. It's an H13. The low beam plug is the longer of the two. And then we have a turn signal plug. And it is important to note that these connectors are both identical. These are H13s. You can mix them up, and if you mix them up, your lights just won't work properly. But it is important to note that they are the same connector, so it is very easy to plug the turn signal into the low beam, and you'll have some weird stuff happen if that happens. Definitely all you have to do is just switch them. So, important to note, the longer of the two with no driver is the low-high plug, and the one with the driver here is the turn signal, okay? And these connections will go to your factory connections coming from your truck. So when you unplug your quad style lights, these are going to go to the factory connections. This plug here is for a different application. It is not needed. So you can leave that unplugged, you can tape it up, whatever you want to do. It is not needed for this application. So don't get confused by that. So let's look at the back of the lights here. I'm actually going to throw some bubble wrap down so we don't damage the lamp. Okay, so when we look at the back of the light here, we can see that it has the main connector on the back. This is this large VW connector. It's a Volkswagen plug essentially. And yeah, this guy here plugs into this. This is your adapter harness. A lot of times with these connectors, when they're brand new, they are a little bit crisp. The corners are very sharp and they don't like to go together. So when you go to plug this guy in, it'll go in a little ways and then it'll just hit. It'll just hit and it won't want to plug in all the way. So this happens a lot. An easy trick to get this to go in the first time is to plug it in so that there's a flat side here and a rounded side here. Plug it in so that the connector essentially goes in like this. So you're going to start this side off first, and this side is going to be open, and we're going to force it in on that angle. So we're not pushing it straight in. This rounded side is going to stick a little bit more out, and this side is going to go in first. So we're going to force it in like that. And then once you get to that certain point, it'll go past that point, and it'll click and lock in. So if you saw what I did there, try and get this off again. We essentially pushed it in like this, okay? This side open, this side going in first. Very important, a very easy trick. Once you usually get it in the first time, it goes nicely, but that first time can be a little bit tricky. So once we got that plugged in, you're done there. All we have now is the two connectors. Again, the one without the driver is the low beam, low high beam, and this guy here with the driver is your turn signal. Also an important thing to note with these adapters is with the Canadian trucks, the DRL still uses the high beam, okay? It does not use this amber bar. It's a very important thing to note. A lot of people think that it's just going to work out of the box like that, and you know it probably should. But this adapter here still retains the high beam daytime running lights. The only way to switch this would be through a program called Alpha OBD. It cannot be done via wiring, unfortunately. We do have another harness that is plug and play, all wiring, that allows you to retain the amber DRL and essentially removes the high beam daytime running light features. So That harness will be linked in the description below if you want to look at it. It has a lot more wiring, and it also has to go into the battery, and there's more connections. It's more expensive. This guy here, you know, very simple. It took us 2 seconds to plug it in the back here and essentially plug into the truck. So this harness is much more popular. It's much more simpler. It's easier to install. It's cheaper. But keep in mind, if you do want that amber daytime running light feature when you start the vehicle, it is going to use high beam. The only way to get this amber on here is to turn the lights fully on, or to manually turn them to park light setting using the selector switch in your truck.